Hello there, Razzle48 here! Now, while I was playing around with children's card games yesterday, something monumental happened at Evolution 2017, which I unfortunately was not there to see live due to the fact that I spent all my money on children's cardboard instead of trips to Las Vegas for fighting game events. But regardless, some of you may know that what was revealed is Blazblue Cross Tag Battle, a upcoming Arc System Works fighting game that crosses over Blazblue, Persona, Ruby, and Under Night and Birth EX Late, or First, or whatever the newest one is called. And I just had to make a video on it because, like, I've been a Blazblue fan for the longest. If any of you have, like, watched my channel since the LP days, which is not very likely because it's more or less entirely turned into a Yu-Gi-Oh channel, then you know that I am a huge fan of BlazBlue, and I just had to make a coverage video on this because it's just so effing exciting. This is something that us BlazBlue fans of Persona fans have only dreamed of, and it's actually gonna happen. But yesterday, I tried to open Camtasia, and I recently upgraded my operating system, and Camtasia didn't work, so I was not able to make the video for you all yesterday, so now I'm going to bootleg it and use Audio Hijack Pro, and probably throw some reruns of the trailer on for the video or something. But I want to apologize in advance to anyone who watches my channel for Yu-Gi-Oh! This is definitely not Yu-Gi-Oh! There will definitely be coverage on link format soon, maybe a deck profile for the most recent build pre-link format, but I'm going to stop talking about that now and talk about this. So this was revealed after the Jubei reveal for BlazBlue Central Fiction, which I was like, oh my god, because I was already hyping out over the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that I saw that same day, including Toy Story, and then I saw Jubei, and I was like, what? And I actually wanted to do a live reaction on this, but I didn't believe it was real at first. I saw some stray comments on my Twitter about it, and I was like, what? No, that's not real. So I immediately YouTubed it, and I found it. I'm like, this has got to be fake. So I looked it up, and it definitely was not fake. So let's talk about let's talk about the trailer real quick. So obviously it opens up with Ragna and Jin, making you think that it's probably going to be BlazBlue 5, BlazBlue centered peanuts or something, I don't know, BBC, whatever the heck. And then like Narukami and Hyde just come out of effing nowhere, and you're like, oh my god, and that's when the audience like freaks out and everything. So this is going to be a crossover fighting game in which it looks like both players will be picking two characters from the roster in order to play as, and we'll be able to switch between them. The first thing that I want to talk about is the roster of the game. I do believe that, unfortunately, this game will probably not have the entirety of the rosters from all of the games that, that it's borrowing characters from, because obviously the entire roster of BlazBlue is a good 30-something characters, Personas is a good 20-something, and Under Night and Births, I believe, is a good 20-something as well. I do not know much about Ruby, so I'm not going to talk much about Ruby throughout the entirety of this video. I simply know nothing about it. I also don't really care for it, so there is that contributing to it as well, but that's compensated by the fact that tons of the other YouTubers who are covering this video just watch it for the Ruby and nothing else, so yeah, I like everything but the Ruby, so whatever. But that's not going to detract from my hype from this game whatsoever. So the characters, obviously at the beginning you see Ragna and Jin, and then it transitions into Narukami, Hyde, and Ruby. Now these are the protagonists of their franchises, and I would just want to mention that since Jin was there, they had to show Jin in order to give that wow factor at the beginning. When you see Narukami and Hyde come out, they had to show Jin as a second BlazBlue character, which means that it's probably going to mean that the secondary male characters for all of the franchises will be characters as well. You can expect Yosuke to be in this game. You can expect Lin to be in this game from Under Night. I know she's not male, but I believe she's the secondary character story-wise, so you can probably expect Lin. And you can also expect white, black, and yellow from Ruby. That's the extent of my Ruby knowledge, that there's characters named after the title. But since they are named after the title, chances are you can expect them in the roster. So yes, expect Yosuke, expect Lin, and expect those 3 Ruby characters in addition. I also believe that the main characters of the opposite gender will be playable as well, which means you can also expect Noelle Vermillion. You can expect Yukiko and Chie. Basically, for Persona, I believe you can expect the entirety of the investigation team. You can expect Kanji, Naoto, Chie, Yukiko. I don't know about Rise, because Rise was kind of added as an addition to the P4A roster in P4AU, just to sort of complete the cast present there to be playable, you know. I'm not sure if Rise would be transitioned into this game, because she's not an actual fighter in the Persona canon. But I definitely do believe that you can expect the rest of the investigation team to be present in this game. And for Under Night, I'm not really sure as to the story relevance of characters. So I would not feel really comfortable saying that any given Under Night character will be present in this game just yet, until I get a firmer grasp of just how many characters that they plan to pull from each game's roster. Then I'd be able to tell you some more Under Night characters that I believe may be able to make it. But I do also believe that the main antagonists from each game will be present there. I believe that from BlazBlue, Hazama is definitely going to be playable. From Persona, probably Minazuki, Sho or Minazuki, one of the two. Probably I'm not sure which one they'd opt for, honestly. Probably Minazuki, if I were to guess, because he was the actual villain of Ultimax. And for Under Night and Birth, that would obviously be Hilda. And if Ruby has a main villain, then you Ruby fans can all expect that character to be there too. So those are the only characters that I feel comfortable saying will absolutely 100% be in this game. Jin, Noelle, Hazama, Chie, Yukiko, Yosuke, Naoto, Kanji, Hilda, and Lin, mainly. And white, black, and yellow. Another thing that I want to talk about is Guilty Gear and why it's not in this game. Because Guilty Gear is honestly Arc System Works' main thing. Why would it not be in this game? Well, I have a few theories as to why this is possible, and as to why there was no Guilty Gear shown here. The first theory is that Guilty Gear is actually in this game. They just haven't shown it yet, because this is an Arc System Works game. But I do not think that theory is the case. I do not think that that's how it's going to be. I think Guilty Gear is not actually going to be in this game for a few reasons. For one, this Guilty Gear is honestly maybe a bigger franchise than BlazBlue. I have not really looked at the sale numbers, but unlike Under Night and Persona, which obviously are more minor Arc System Works franchises than BlazBlue, this is a BlazBlue game. Remember, if it had Guilty Gear characters in it, I'm sure that they would have named it BlazBlue X Guilty Gear. I'm pretty sure Guilty Gear would have made it into the title if Guilty Gear characters were in this game, because Guilty Gear is a big deal to Arc System Works. It's about as big of a deal as BlazBlue is. Also, the Guilty Gear franchise has moved into an era of 3D models. This is a 2D fighting game, obviously. Which means that if they were to use Guilty Gear characters, they'd have to pull the sprites from the old PS2 games, in which a lot of the characters that are relevant in the modern Guilty Gear era don't even have any. Elfelt has no XR sprites, or Guilty Gear XX, or whatever it was called. What was her name? Ramlethal, Bedman, basically a lot of the main characters now just don't have any of those sprites. And I know some people would just be all like, well, they could just make the sprites. I don't think that's the case, because they're making sprites for Ruby for this game. That is probably because they're already making sprites for one franchise of characters for this crossover game. And they had announced, Arc System Works had announced before, that there is a Ruby fighting game in the making. I believe this is what they were talking about. They had been making, designing sprites of the Ruby characters for this game. And I believe that designing Guilty Gear sprites on top of that would have been like... I think it would just have been too much of a huge ordeal. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think that they would go out of their way to make sprites for characters like Elfelt or Bedman just for a crossover game, as opposed to Ruby, which they had announced this previously. I believe this is that Ruby fighting game that they were talking about. Even though it's not its own game, it's a crossover game, I still believe that this was what they had mentioned in that announcement. So that's why I believe that Guilty Gear will not be a thing in this game. But let's take a look at, or let's discuss rather, like what we can visually see in this trailer. The stage shown looks beautiful. I'm skimming through it. There is only one stage shown, I believe. Unless there was a Blazblue stage shown near the end, which I do not believe is the case. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there was only the one stage shown, which is a new stage. And it looks like it looks like a Blazblue stage. It looks like a hierarchical city. They panned out of it, like they do with the Blazblue camera angles when you're starting a match. It looks absolutely beautiful. I do believe that they're going to borrow old stages for this game, similar to how they're borrowing old sprites from for the majority of the games here, with the exception of Ruby. So I believe that you can expect some Under Night stages, some Persona stages, and some Blazblue stages, similar to the music. I believe that all of the characters' individual themes from all of their respective games will take place in this game. Whether or not it will have original music of its own is obvious. It's obviously going to have original music of its own. This is because Ruby characters have obviously been never featured in Arc System Works games before, and every Arc System Works game, they give beautifully woven musical pieces to each of the characters playable in the game. So you can expect each of the Ruby characters to have their own Arxis style battle theme as well. And this is all under the assumption that they do not remix all of the themes for the characters that will be in this game for this game. I do not think this is going to happen, but if it did, it'd be pretty effing awesome. And you'd probably have the option to use the originals anyway, because they're there, and it would be an easy way for Arxis to make some fast money off DLC, so that it would probably be an option one way or another. The cinematics of the game do look like Blazblue. Like I said, the first stage shown looks like Blazblue. The camera angles that pan out look like Blazblue. Which makes sense because it's a Blazblue game. You do see Ragna use Devoured by Darkness in here, and the screen shatters behind him like I believe, let me just skip to the part real quick, which is how the supers worked back in Continuum Shift. The screen used to shatter behind the character when when Ragna does a little jump in assist here. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It does sort of look like Central Fiction's super animation, well, the distortion drive background that plays when one of those happens. Which makes me wonder, it's like, are they going to borrow all of the graphics from all of the different games? Like, if there's going to be Persona stages here, will they have that kind of camera panning and that kind of visual effects for the supers when, say, Narukami would do cross slash. You see Narukami do cross slash in the video, but it's not really as a super, it's more as a combo attack with Ragna, and it doesn't really look like a super. But speaking of the supers, I noticed that the meter in this game looks remarkably similar to that of Ultimate Marvel, which unnerves me a bit because that's not how any ArcSys game has functioned to date, not with that kind of meter system. It shows the 1 bars over there, like you can see, like, the characters have like 1 meter, like 1 full bar, and then it charges up. You do see a character get 2 meter later in the video, and it still continues to charge, which leads me to believe, well, I mean, it's obvious that these meters can get to 3 or higher. So obviously, distortion drives or Persona Supers are probably going to cost like 1 meter. If there's astral finishes or instant kills, then it will probably cost maximum meter, whatever that is, be it 3 or 5, or if the max meter's 5, then that's going to be really whack, because I've watched this trailer a few times, and the meter gain does not look to be all that fast whatsoever. So if if that bar can reach level 5, that's going to be stupid. Could you imagine, like, Narukami being able to do 5 cross slashes in a row? That's effing stupid. But anyway, the meter gain does look very slow. It makes me wonder how Jin is going to function with all of his specials in BlazBlue that cost 25 meter. It doesn't look like there is a sort of sub-meter. I guess it's possible that if Jin were to use, like, D version of Ice Car, it could take a chunk from a bar, but not a full bar, maybe a half bar, depending on exactly how they converted, like, just BlazBlue's meter, for example, into this game's Marvel-looking meter system. I'm not sure how Jin's gonna work, and because of that, I'm wondering if all of the characters in the game did get a rework. I'm not sure, because both Ragna and Narukami looked like they, in the very few short segments that they revealed, it looks like they play very similar to how they do in BlazBlue and Persona already. I would say the same about Hyde, but I do not know Under Night and Birth gameplay all that well. So you can tell me in the comments if Hyde looks like, during that one clip they showed of him attacking Narukami, if Hyde looks like his playstyle plays like it does in Under Night. But that's all up to speculation. More details that I noticed, when Narukami is playing, is active rather, there are no Persona cards. It looks like they took away the Persona break mechanic from P4A, which makes complete and perfect sense, because if Persona breaks could happen for the Persona characters, they'd be 100% unable to compete with the BlazBlue characters, with their, like, with all their nonsense, and the Under Night characters, who, by the way, have retarded huge hitboxes, and it makes me wonder how they're gonna balance that, because Persona characters and BlazBlue characters definitely don't have that kind of hitboxes. Like, for example, Yuzuria and Gordo have, like, retarded huge hitboxes, so either they won't be in the game, or they're gonna have to do something to compensate for that, because I don't know exactly how that would work. It smells like an unfair advantage to me, but that's just me. Obviously, there's going to be assists in this game, just like in Marvel. It looks like the game borrowed a lot of aspects from Marvel. The assists, there are super assists. Because obviously Ragna jumps in for the Devoured by Darkness. I am not sure if a super assist makes you stay with that character, like if Ragna does Devoured by Darkness, then if you call in Ragna for a Devoured by Darkness assist, then the character you were playing as would tag out. I'm not sure if that's the case. I would feel comfortable leaning yes, but you don't know for sure, because the trailer cuts off as soon as it happens. So, that was a lot to talk about, and I am very excited for this game. Obviously, I may continue to do coverage for this game because I'm just that excited about it. And I may continue to share speculation because, like, that's simply what I want to do. And I make YouTube videos mainly because that's what I want to do. So, thank you for watching. Feel free to leave your predictions as to the game, your thoughts about it down in the comments. Basically, anything you'd like to discuss about, I try to reply to my commenters often. So, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing much more news about this game. It looks beautiful. It looks like a dream come true, really. So, let's look forward to it. So for now, this is Razzle48 saying goodbye, and I'll see you next time.